Hello friends, Jennifer Pearson here, Thistle Gypsy, doing yet another dark deck interview. This time I'm using this Mexican deck, Tarot de la Santa Muerte. So this is another deck that, it's a Santa Muerte deck. So it's got skulls and death looming here and there, and but not a whole lot of, again, it's just, it has that theme, but I have not found it to be that dark of a deck. And I primarily used it actually for love readings, especially for the male perspective on love readings. So even if it is, I got it essentially because it's a Santa Muerte deck, and I was thinking it might be a dark deck, potential. And particularly dealing with physical death, because I know that I have an issue with physical death. I tend to grieve overly, and even for people who I have no connection to. But once I got it and looked through the images and stuff, I saw that it was really a deck that could be used for everyday purposes, and had a masculine vibe to it and everything. So at this point, I will keep it even if it fails the dark deck interview, because it has other purposes and just can be used for any old everyday kind of a reading. I was kind of surprised by that in regards to this deck. But anyway, so it was initially kind of purchased for this sort of stuff, but there's nothing on the line here. If it passes, it passes. If it fails, it fails. So, number one, how are you a dark deck? So this is the Five of Swords. And it feels like this is kind of a dark night of the soul kind of card. It's pretty unusual in this particular deck to have completely cloudy, stormy. I mean, this is like, the end of the world, and he's being driven forward with these swords, even though he's exhausted and all he has is a broken sword. Just being driven onward. Maybe by his own inner demons, I don't know. This is like somebody traveling to hell on a mission to retrieve something. I don't know. Frodo and Sam dragging themselves to Mount Doom. Anyway, so yeah, I think it's owning it. It's saying, yeah, definitely have a dark aspect. And it may be saying, since it is swords, that it's mental, our thoughts that drive us on, or put us in these positions. All right, number two, what dis-ease can you help me with? And so here it starts to fail, because dis-ease with fire, with passion, this one leaves a big question mark in my mind. I don't know of any person that I have a particular problem with at this point. So So that ends up kind of being a fail kind of a card. I would really have to stretch. But this is the second time a King of Swords or King of Wands has come up in these dark deck interviews, and both times it's like, what? So maybe there is something that I'm missing. If we think of it in the reverse and we think of, because it is what dis-ease can you help me with, if there's, maybe it's a lack of ambition, because I certainly think of the King of Wands as very ambitious. So maybe it's a lack of that energy that he has, or a lack of ambition. So, number 3, what is your recommendation for that dis-ease? I don't know, maybe pushing through it, since we have the Knight of Wands here as a solution to the King of Wands. But again, it doesn't make a lot, I don't know, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So it's failing a little bit, even though it admitted that it is a dark deck. It has, to me, this first set of questions, the 2 and 3, is not making any sense, or minimal sense, and it doesn't strike me as being very emotional / psychological. So number 4, what dark aspect of my personality holds me back the most in my relationships? So El Majo. So obviously the Magician, right? So maybe, having everything I need. And so in terms of romantic relationships, people, men don't see that they have something of value to provide. Maybe it is that illusion, the magician also being an illusionist, because, I could use all kinds of help in my life. I do think of, if I'm having a romantic relationship, that it would lead to us becoming a permanent couple, and that part of the motivation to do that is to have a helpmate in life. So maybe I am somehow casting an illusion of not needing masculine energy in my life. I'm not sure, but that would be, given the question, that would be my primary assumption as to the meaning of that card. So number 5 is a similar question, just about career, and that is, what dark aspect of my personality holds me back the most in my career? So certainly this is a card about being closed off. I'm not sure what else is going on here. I'm not sure if this is, overall the graphic is supposed to sort of represent a skull with these 2 things as being eyes. But to me, these 2, the way they've positioned the 4 of Cups, is being dissatisfied, generally kind of he seems very determined, so maybe taking a position of dissatisfaction, that could definitely be a personality, expecting or wanting something more from work than work is really able to give in terms of emotional satisfaction or something along those lines. So I can make meaning out of it, and I can see some truth to that. Uh, but again, I guess I've reached a point where I don't think of work, and for quite some time now, I have not thought of work as something that needs to. I like a lack of conflict is nice. Smooth functioning amongst teammates is fantastic. Um, but I don't look for my work to give me emotional satisfaction. I just want it to not give me any residual emotional frustrations that carry on after work. Other than that, um, I'm not asking it to be more than that. And maybe that's a dark aspect of my personality. That I'm not looking for that in my work. I'm really happy if it pays the bills and gives me money, a little extra money to occasionally buy a deck. So that's that. So that's it with the Santa Muerte. So I would give, what would I give this? So I had kind of what I feel like were kind of a fail in there. In the last deck that did that, I gave it a 4. Even though, I can work with these, but they were a bit of a stretch. So I'm going to give it a 4 like I did the Rackham Tarot. It might even be more of a 3 as a dark deck. Again, it has kind of dark aspects, and that's kind of like the Hobbit Tarot, which I maybe should have given even the Hobbit Tarot less than a 5. Although I don't think there were any cards in that I just couldn't make sense of. So we're giving, and this is the 7th deck, that I've done this for. And none of them thus far has surpassed the Osho Zen. So even though the Osho Zen is just an everyday reader deck, it thus far rules this set of questions as being very readable, and what I can perceive as accurate and recognizable flaws in my character, all of that sort of stuff. And I've got several more to go. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more decks to give this a try with. So there we go. That's where we stand with the Dark Deck interview series. All right, everybody. Like I said, this deck I keep just because I don't use it for dark stuff anyway. I use it for relationship readings and stuff. So the deck is not going anywhere. But some of the other ones I may let them go. So all right, everybody, take care. Bye bye.